straight from the automotive industry event of the year, NADA 2025. Chicks in Charge and Authenticom are bringing you the biggest names in automotive. From industry disruptors to game-changing innovators, we're getting the inside scoop on what's next for the auto world. This is where leaders talk and the future takes shape. Are you ready? Buckle up and let's dive in.
Welcome to the very first live podcast at NADA of Chicks in Charge Automotive Edition. I am Shasta Haddock, and today our very first guest happens to be one of the names that everybody knows in automotive, Yossi Levi. Welcome to the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, absolutely. That we all had a heck of a time getting in here. I heard you had to take multiple flights, almost didn't make it. What was your journey like even getting here?
It was tough. It was tough. I'm glad to be here though. I mean,
yes.
You know, cancellations and the whole caboodle, but we're here and that's all that matters. So I think we're gonna have a great time.
For sure. Yeah, we ended up driving in. We have several people that we were supposed to interview that didn't make it. So I think it goes to show that the automotive industry will just pivot. We're resilient. You know, we'll make do with whatever happens.
You could make a movie from all the stories of people getting in here.
Oh my gosh, I swear. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about that obviously NADA is a big milestone for you. So when we were here last year, I remember exactly what booth I was in when I found out, oh my gosh, he just revealed himself. And so it's been a year since you made your presence known and who you are. What has the past year been like for you since before when you were anonymous?
It's been very different in a good way. Before I revealed, I wasn't exactly sure on the direction of the business. After the reveal, you know, I was dead set on this is going to be a monster business. We're going to bring a lot of value to the industry by creating lots of insights, content that can make the car buying experience better. And you do that by making the dealer experience better because it all trickles down. So I would say it opened up a lot of doors.
It did.
You know, just opportunities started flying in. People saw that I wasn't a 19-year-old intern in college creating content in my boxers.
Right.
I actually, you know, sold a couple cars over the last decade and so. And I think other than that, it allowed me to take the business to the next level. We acquired CDG Recruiting this year, which it's an automotive-centric recruiting company to help dealers find talent. We just took a stake in a company called Nomad Social.
Wow.
Yes, and Nomad Social helps dealers create social media content so that they can really dominate their local markets. They help them with video production, with video editing. And so none of these things were things that I planned on doing.
Right.
But I was always really, you know, it's core to my mission of bringing transparency to automotive and helping elevate the car buying experience.
Yeah.
And all these things, all these surrounding ancillary services businesses have really reinforced that. Of course, that's on top of the media that we've done. So it's been a great year. And I'm just happy to be here right now.
Yeah. Do you ever feel like, oh my gosh, I'm pulled in so many directions and worry that something's going to fall off? You're like, oh, this is going on. This is going on. Got to make sure I don't stop paying attention to my baby or.
Yeah. Look, there's operators in my company that handle everything. I am focused on media.
Yeah.
I've made mistakes in the past where I took on things that I wasn't the best at. You know, I managed our logistics at my prior company. At some point, I was in the finance office, not like the dealership finance office, like corporate finance. Like, I'm done with that.
Yeah.
I am just like, I know what I'm good at. Content, media, like that's it.
Yeah.
I don't care how much of an opportunity can be thrown at me. If it's not what I'm great at, I don't want to do it. If I can find someone that's great at it, I'll team up with them potentially, but that's it. So the short answer is when you operate that way, which took me a long time to like learn that, you get to a state where you're very content.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is I'm very forgiving to myself, right?
Good.
We put out 7-8 pieces of content per day.
Yeah.
Some of them are long form, some short form. We make tons of mistakes.
Right.
You know, maybe we report an insight that's incorrect or news that's, you know, maybe we lack some context, whatever it is.
Right.
I'm just that's part of media. You're going to make fucking mistakes.
Exactly.
And so I I try not to take it too hard. Sometimes it's harder than others. And sometimes when you're on the edge with something, you know, I might check my phone 100 times in like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because you're on edge, maybe you're unsure. But the internet has a way of course correcting you very quickly.
Yeah.
If you
Those kind people out there.
Yeah. And I just, you know, just try to stay humble and know that, you know, we're all human. So just keep learning and iterating.
So when you started the show and, you know, nobody knew who you were, what was the plan then? Like, I'm going to stay anonymous for how long? Or, you know, were you ever planning to reveal yourself, or was it supposed to even be a big deal that nobody knew who you were?
No, everything about this business has been very practical. Like even revealing myself, like it sounds funny, but I happened to be an anonymous account that grew. And then I had an issue, which was that I was getting pretty big and I was entering conversations where they lacked context. People were like, who the hell are you? And it was just weird.
Yeah.
And so I had to solve for that. How do I solve for that? Reveal myself. But how do I do that? Well, the most intimate, rich way is to do that with video.
Exactly.
So I recorded a video, and here we are now. Like it was
Were you here last year? Well, obviously not in New Orleans, but at NADA.
I was, yes. And like I said, and even doing that whole part was just solving for a problem I had at the time.
Yeah.
So.
Then that's awesome. Like the fact that you had so many followers, and the support has even been amazing since you revealed yourself.
It's been better.
Yeah.
Which
welcome, Michelle.
I couldn't help but wonder, hey, how are you?
So we were talking about the reveal last year and really what that's done for him since then. And obviously, like I talked to Jay ahead of time, who was like, his schedule is absolutely booked. We have to be here at 1 minute, here the next minute. And so I think it really has done amazing things for you. But what does 2025 look like for you? And what are the big things that you want to tackle this year?
So we're going to continue building, first of all, we're going to continue building our service businesses. I was just telling her, Shasta, that we start, like I am at the core, I'm focused on media and evolving that. Our service businesses have been a beautiful complementary part to the business, which just allow us to invest more into media and content because, of course, there's more cash flow. And that's driven by the fact that we're solving more problems for dealers. So whether it's a recruiting company that we have, which helps dealers find executive management, which is, as you know, is hard, but I have tens of thousands of dealership managers that follow me, which makes it easier.
Right.
Or our social media content creation company now, which helps dealers gain exposure in their local markets. It's all reinforcing, right? We have the media, and then that perpetuates the services, which dealers really get value out of. So I think just continuing to be just very disciplined, not rushing to opportunities, focus on creating amazing content, which is what I put most of my energy into.
Right.
And as problems arise and solutions, and I see opportunities like, oh, we can solve this problem for dealers or that problem, capitalizing on it with the right partner and the right operator to go say, hey, we're going to solve that problem for dealers with the right people. It's not going to be me, but I will be involved in it. I'm going to be doing my media and my content. Don't get me to do anything else. I don't want to do anything else. Just let me make my content.
So I have a question for you based on that, because you have so many different people coming to you every day. And like a car dealership guy, got so many followers. Like, I want to get in bed with you, you know. How do you...
Literally or figuratively?
Come on.
Both. You'd be surprised. The internet's a wild place.
It is.
No, but like choosing your partners, because I know like we've done some stuff together at Automotive, but just overall, you have to be bombarded with individuals all the time. How do you know what direction?
How do you know who the good people are?
Yeah.
I think it happens naturally. People you align with in values. You know, I know what I value. You know, I value loyalty. I value honesty. We could go on and on, but not everyone values loyalty, by the way. Like,
you hid yourself for how long?
No, well, but think about that for a second. Think about that for a second, right? Like, when I revealed, I had to do it with a video so people really know my story.
Like it was you.
Yeah, I had to be intimate and so what I mean by that is there's, you know, you want to work with partners that you feel like uphold your values, and in their content, they're not, you know, not saying, hey, I want to come on the podcast and talk about this new tool we have. Okay, cool. Why do you want to talk about this tool? Oh, it's the best ever. And then I look at the tool and it sucks. I'm like, that's not honest. Like, I can't put that on my platform because guess what?
I stand for.
Well, and guess what? Even if I did and it was a shitty tool, you're now breaching my trust with my audience.
Right.
So that's what I mean by that. Like, I think it's finding really good operators, good people in the industry that are creating great things, where we align on values, and they're out there. Like they're out there. You know, we're not. Our media business is not. We don't want to be the biggest because that's going to dilute. So we want to be very tailored, so that people know that when you work with us, right? We get dealers who DM us. They literally say, "Can you send us a list of your sponsors? Because we want to relook at our tech stack at our dealership."
Oh, that's
And
great.
so what that tells me is that there's a lot of value in curation for dealers. They look at us as curators, not just media and content, but they say, if they are sponsoring you, then you've put your stamp of approval.
Right.
And so that's very valuable to us.
You've built the honesty.
Yeah. So we're actually literally launching a page of like our sponsors, because people have repeatedly asked us, dealers, like, hey, we're relooking at our tech stack, or I'm opening another dealership, and they're like, we want to see who sponsors you, because that's a stamp of approval. Right. So we're going to launch a page now where you can literally see our sponsors. And
I heard about that. So Drew Williams, our creative director at Automotive, you and him talk quite frequently, and he was telling me about, your different sponsors and everything like that. Do you foresee yourself kind of monetizing that in any way, or what does that look like kind of going into 2025 for you?
Well, you're the head of sales over here, so you're thinking of monetizing now. I think monetization. I know. I think monetization is secondary. I think first is you have to find product market fit, like create value. Even like every piece of content needs to have its product market fit. I don't even think about like selling it or making money on it until it actually works.
Right.
So I think what I think about first is this bringing value? You know when it brings value, because guess what? When it brings value, you wake up in the morning and that podcast has 10,000 listens. Like you're like, okay, this got shared, right? That's the best way to grow, when it's actually valuable, something, and it gets shared like crazy. So I think about that with everything. It's like, let's just create good content. Let's bring good services. We'll know when there's product market fit because we can't keep up with the demand. And then we can figure out how to monetize it.
One of the things I ask is, you see everybody trying to make like a marketplace right now, right? And then
what type of marketplace?
Think of like Ford Direct, right?
One-stop shop.
There's the Ford shop now, where it's a complete platform where vendors can go in and like they're approved, right? And they've found different ways to monetize that. And I've heard of a few others over the last kind of few months where people are like, I'm going to get all of my vendors in here, and they've turned it into rev share, different kind of stuff like that. So
look,
I don't think
what we have,
another market.
We have that's unique is that we are authoritative, impartial, and we have distribution. That's three things that are really tough to do. Think about that. Distribution to dealers. And distribution is not, I have an email list with 50,000 dealers. Distribution is, I have an email list with 50,000 dealers who actually read the email. That's a very big difference.
Yeah, very.
One has an engaged audience, one does not. Authority is earned by trust over time, by actually delivering insights that people find valuable and are true. And just being impartial is, everyone in some way is biased, you could say, but the more you can remain unbiased, and people know, okay, what is your motive? And also being honest, right? Like, if you have something to gain from a deal, be honest about it.
Right.
Everyone can make their bread, but be honest about it. So long story short is, I think we have those ingredients, and it positions us to potentially do many different things. Many people will try to create these marketplaces. Some, I would say many will fail. Maybe some will succeed. I don't know. But it doesn't shock me, right? It's an obvious kind of thing when you have some audience to try to do that. So we'll see kind of where we're going to go with it.
I'm excited to see what you do with that.
Yeah. So.
What do you think? You are so connected and you have information as it happens around the industry. What do you think we're looking at, Q1, Q2, and 2025 that we need to start focusing on right now and pay attention to?
Great question.
It's loaded. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's okay. No, there's a lot, There's a lot. I think it's, from starting very high level, right? If you just look at the, governmental, politically, and just regulatory, you have an acceleration of D2C players entering the market, which is more of like a macro risk. Like, what happens there? Like, does that put pressure on franchise laws and regulations? I don't know. When you take a step, a layer, you go down, maybe you go into well, let's get into like tier 3. Let's talk about like dealers, right? You have technologies changing so quickly. We've added so much tech. Now people need it to be more simple. So now we're integrating tech. Who's going to integrate it the best? Once it's integrated, who's going to create a system where I can do the most with the least? I want to go into my platform in the morning and just know what I need to do.
Yeah.
It's not like that crazy. This is going to happen very soon, right? When an agent can tell me what I need to do in the morning, what's the highest priority, what's going to yield me the most return on my investment of time.
Exactly.
You know, who's a tire kicker? Like, there's so many things that are going to change. So I think, as I mentioned earlier today, like, I think at its core, I think the fundamental skills, human skills, are actually going to rise in demand. Storytelling, being able to sell.
Yeah.
Right?
Human connection.
Yeah, like I think those are just going to rise in demand. Critical thinking.
Seriously.
I think that's going to really rise in demand. You know, what I think, so in the dealership setting specifically, I think we're going to see more of that. The best will get better. The best salespeople will sell double the amount of cars, or maybe 50% more, or whatever. And the worst will just, you know, churn out, and they won't make it because it will be more competitive, and you got to know how to use these tools. So I could go on and on. There's so much changing, but it's pretty exciting. Absolutely. I think net, it's just going to result in a better car buying experience.
Yeah.
And if the car buying experience is a lot better,
they're making more money.
Well, not just that. If you're a customer, maybe you buy a car every 3 years instead of every 5 years. It's gonna make everything, you know, it'll make the customer experience better, and it'll make the dealership experience better. Everyone will be more profitable, and things will just be more efficient. So
that's awesome.
That's one of the biggest things I kind of always latch onto. I feel like we are constantly talking about vendors, dealers, OEMs, everything like that, but then we always forget the most important person, the customer, in that. And it's the relationship that you have with that customer that is like the number one thing that we need to focus on. You can use all the tools and all the AI, and you can all build all the CDPs that you want, but at the end of the day,
customer doesn't care about that.
Yes.
No. Yeah, they don't care about it at all. It's annoying when people talk about all these, like, you know, buzzwords and stuff. It's like, what problem are you solving?
Right.
Like, I don't care about your fancy new product and your tool. And people, like, as you can imagine, every day we get emails of people like showing us their product because they want exposure. But it's like, just tell me what problem you're solving. I don't care about like your .ai domain and all the. Just tell me what problem you're solving.
Exactly.
You know, and that's when I get excited, when a real problem is being solved.
We talk about it in the BDC all the time because we know BDC is frontline. If dealerships have a BDC or whoever's handling their internet leads, that's your one-stop shop. That is your first place where you go, and the customer experience can thrive or die there. And it has to be, you know, are you paying attention to the lead? Are you paying attention? Do you know your lead sources even?
It's so important.
And that can literally make or break a deal. If they have a good BDC experience, could make for a great sales experience, more money on the back end, and if it goes bad, they can never shop that dealership again. And so I mean, everybody in the dealership is responsible for that. 100%. We are getting very, very close on time because you have places to be. I wanted to ask you one last question, and it's super off the wall, and I'm so sorry I didn't prepare you for this.
It's okay.
What is something, and it can be anything, it can be food, a sound, a color, and whatever you want. What is something that you absolutely hate that everybody else loves?
Why hate? Why not positive?
Yeah, this is positivity.
Okay, switch it on. Okay,
I'm kidding.
One thing
hate?
that you absolutely love.
Oh, so now we're doing love.
Yes.
I was already thinking about the hate one.
Well, so what's something that you love that not a lot of people know about? Like your guilty pleasure, like
a guilty pleasure?
Yeah, like do you have like a favorite candy that like you have to buy every time you see it, or
this is a good one.
A TV show that you're like, oh my god, people would make fun of me for this, like, something like that.
Moana 2?
Oh, that was a good movie.
That was a good one, right?
That was a very good movie. Very good.
It's good.
Yeah.
I took my daughter to see it, and when we came home, she's never been to the movie theater. She's 4. We came home. She was like, I got her the really big popcorn. Like the excessive, like she shouldn't even finish like 10% of that GMO stuff. It was funny because at the movie theater, she was eating it, and like I was like, she's had enough. So I take it and I put it on the floor. It's on the floor next to her. And then she's like watching it, and she's 4 years old. She's watching the movie, and she's like reaching, and like taking like one at a time. And I felt bad. I'm like, but anyways, so I mean, guilty pleasure. Sorry, I don't have like a really great answer because I'm really thinking hard. I mean, I love doing the Rubik's Cube. It's like my therapy. I know it's kind of lame.
That's interesting, actually.
Yeah.
Like fast?
Yeah, I can do it in like a minute and a half.
Yeah. Where's
Get
our
me a
regular
Rubik's Cube. I got you.
That's actually a really good
Yeah.
answer. Like,
No, but I like it. It's like it really calms me down. I'm just like,
It's stressed out me like Rubik's Cube.
I love the Rubik's Cube.
are you a little bit like neurodivergent, like kind of process things a little bit differently? I asked
I don't
because
know.
I am.
No,
and it
it's a good
sounds like-
question. I don't think I am.
No.
Maybe I am though.
Okay.
But what I know about myself is I have 2 speeds. Now or never.
Yeah.
And if you ask my team, they'll tell you there's no in between.
Yeah.
It's either we get it done now
Or it's
and
not
I'm like
happening.
very aggressive, or I forget about it and I move on to the next thing.
That's fair.
So for better or worse, that's how I operate. So
It's perfect though.
thanks for having me on.
Thank you so much for being
Appreciate
here.
it.
We are wrapping up, guys. Thank you so much for listening to our very first episode at Authenticom at NADA. We all made it here. We are having so much fun. Remember to light it up. I'm Shasta. This is Yossi, and that's Michelle. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you, everybody.
This episode is brought to you by Authenticom, the business behind the automotive business. And this is Chicks in Charge Automotive Edition, available wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts. Help us grow. Rate and review on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.